Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hope you're all well. Good to see you all. It is now officially the countdown to Christmas, is it? Are we allowed to say that, or do we have to wait till December? If we wait until December, it's only a few days away, so I think we're allowed to say it. In fact, I don't think I even remembered when I was practicing the examples for these. I don't remember whether I sort of bid it, put it through as a Christmas thing. I didn't know if it was going to be Christmassy, but I think it's going to be Christmassy. However, this session is just same old bit of Rosie, origami, and doodling, pretty pictures, folding paper. You can use it any time of year. You can use it for anything. But I think that this would make a really beautiful little personalised letter that you could send to someone. So it's really, really simple origami using one sheet of paper. I don't even know if this is origami, actually. It's a piece of folded paper, and we're going to doodle on it, and we're going to make it Christmassy. But it does involve like a little bit of construction and thinking about where we place our images. So essentially what we've got here, so I've sort of made a few examples and I've half done some of them so you can sort of see what we're doing. And then I thought we'll see how we get on, and then I can sort of decorate as much as possible along with you. But then at least we've got sort of examples that we can use. So essentially what we've got is a piece of paper that's been folded into its own envelope so that you can then send it to someone. So you can write somebody's name and then they can open it up, and then inside you have something very beautiful. And then as you can see, I haven't done the inside of this one, but the idea is that the inside would be something a little bit like this. And as you might also be able to see, Rosie got very frustrated with the black pen and didn't finish colouring it in. I had this really lovely idea of making it super monochrome and having lovely black backgrounds, and then the pen just started to be a bit rubbish. So I have got a better black pen today. However, what I will say is that you don't have to use just black for this. The only reason I'm sort of using black for this, as with other sessions I've done before, it's more so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. So the camera picks up the line work pretty easily, so you can see it. I would encourage you to use as many colours as you like. Welcome, Sally, new person. Oh my goodness, is this your first session? It'll be great. It will be great. Good luck. I do a lot of yapping. Apologies for that. And I also bash my camera constantly, so there'll be loads of wobbling. But I'll do my best. This is a nice easy one today, so hopefully I won't wobble the camera too much. So yeah, essentially we're going to fold up a piece of A4 paper, and then we're going to decorate it within an inch of its life, ready to send to someone for Christmas. I think this would make an alternative to a Christmas card as well. I think if you're the sort of person that really likes the idea of like making your own Christmas cards and personalizing things, then I think this is a good alternative. Or you've just found out about the virtual village hall. You've got so much to watch. Everything is archived, so you can watch everything from the past. I don't think you're going to be able to leave your computer for at least a year. You've got so much to look at. And also you can watch back on all my other sessions as well. So there's loads and loads of Rosie's crafty sessions. So there's tons of stuff for you to be getting on with. And I'll also be back in a couple of weeks with another Christmassy craft. I can't remember exactly when it is, but I think it's in 2 weeks' time, maybe 3. So we're going to fold some paper and then we're going to doodle on it. Now, what I would also say about this is, I mean, I don't know how many of you use photocopying machines, but there's nothing to stop you doing an example piece. It's two-sided. So if you are in the business for photocopying for multiples, you could kind of create your example piece, not write the person's name on it, and then you could photocopy both sides, and then you could write the person's name on it and add your message. So it's essentially handmade, but then you're just multiplying your designs to then make loads to send out to people. I don't know, something like that. So we're going to have a go. Really, it's just so that you can see how to fold it and then how I would decorate it and the sort of doodles I would do on them. So I'm going to move my examples away And then I've got myself a piece of A4 paper. Well, I've got two just in case something happens. You could do this with any sort of paper, really. You could probably do it with card, but I would say it'd be quite hard. Stopped there 1 second. My phone decided to disappear for a second there. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so if you wanted to use a thinner card, that would be fine. As long as it's, I think as long as it's an A size, so an A4 or an A3 or something like that, then this will be easy to fold. So with that in mind, let me show you the folding first. I think it's fairly easy, bar one bit. One bit is a bit tricky, but the rest of it is super, super easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold it halfway lengthways, but not fully fold it. Essentially what we're going to do is we're going to find the halfway point, so make sure it's nice and neatly sort of straight either side, and then we're just going to sort of bend it at the bottom with our finger. And the reason for that is so that we can see where the middle is. We don't need a fold down the middle, we just need to see where the middle is so we can fold into it. Hopefully that makes sense. So when we open it up, now this will be hard for you to see on your camera, but you should be able to see a tiny little groove in the middle, which signifies my halfway point. So that's what you're looking for. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your paper from the right hand side and you're going to place it where that groove is. So hopefully you can tell that what I'm doing is I'm folding each side into the middle, and that's how I've got my middle point. So I'm just lining it up, making sure it's nice and neat. And when I'm happy that that's completely halfway all the way up, lovely, then I can make sure that's scored really nicely. So the folds need to be really nicely folded, really tight folds. I always say use your nails so that it's super folded, like so. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing from the other side. So we're going to go left into the center. Now this one will be easier because you can just line it up with that last fold that we just did. And then you're going all the way into the center, like so. Oh, I can see a little. Now this is really hard. I know this is going to be quite hard for you to see because I'm just a plain piece of white paper. But essentially you're kind of creating like a door, like a double door on your paper. I think that's the best way to describe it. And once you're happy with the fold, which I'm not happy with this fold at all. I'm really trying to get it right in the center without, there we go, that's a bit better. Lovely. And you want everything to be nice and straight because we're going to fold upwards in a minute, so it'll be much easier to fold if it's very, very straight. So now we've got our little doorway. So we started by making a little groove in the center so that we could find our point to fold to from there to there and there to there. So now we've got our little doorway, and this is the beginning of our letter locker. A long time ago, I did a session on here, which was another type of letter locker. Was it called a letter locker? I can't remember. But essentially, these things are, if you look into them, I don't know if they were invented in the Victorian period, but they're generally associated with the Victorian period because people used to send little origami notes like this. So you'll find a lot of really beautiful examples of Victorian letter lockers of varying different folds. So we've done one before, which was really fancy, and it was like a little square that folded in into corners with like a windmill effect. Anyway, I think a letter locker is the way you describe a piece of paper that's been folded in a special way to then turn into something else. So if you want to go and research it more, there are lots of examples online. If you type in Victorian letter lockers, there's lots of fun stuff on there you can make and do. So this is quite a nice simple one actually. So we've made our little doorway, and now we're going to fold it up into its little envelope essentially. Now it's fairly easy. I'm just showing you this example here so you can sort of see where we're going with this. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to fold it completely in half. So exactly in half. So we're keeping our door shut, and then we're going to fold up, and we're going to try and fold it completely halfway. Try and make it as neat as you possibly can. Lining it up. And we're making our fold nice and straight. Lovely. And then we're going to open it back out again. And then we're going to fold from the bottom to the middle line. So you will have noticed in this example piece, there's sort of 4 segments. So these 3 segments are fairly self-explanatory. And then the top one is the tricksy one. Once we've got the hang of the tricksy one, we're good to go. Then we're done. So I'm going to fold the bottom one up to the middle fold. And hopefully you'll be able to sort of tell from what I'm doing here that this is going to sort of fold up on itself. So like that. Yeah, so we're going to, this is essentially going to be our envelope, and then we're all folded up and ready to doodle. So this shouldn't take too long. So we folded to the middle, and then we folded from the bottom to the middle, and then the next one is a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it all the way up. So I'm going to go bottom to middle, and then middle to here. Now for this one, you do need to fold it down, but we're not going to fold it the whole way. We're going to leave a little gap between the fold. I'm going to say that gap is probably about 1 centimetre. It doesn't matter how much it is really, as long as you're leaving a little gap. It doesn't need to be precise, but you just want to leave a little gap here so that we can fold the corners for the envelope shape. So once you're happy that there's a little gap, and I'll show you a bit closer actually, you can see here, there's like a gap between here and here. So that's what we're after, because otherwise this will sit right at the bottom here, and I think the overall look is slightly better as well if we fold it like this. So there we have essentially the finished product, apart from the triangle shape. So we're nearly there with the folding. And what I would say at this point is, if you do get stuck with the next bit, it's fine. It's not, as I'm making it out like it's really difficult, it's fine. But if you struggle to get that triangle, I think at this point you could make your letter locker like this. If you just wanted to fold it into a rectangle, I still think it will look lovely, because all we're going to do is decorate each segment differently and it will still look great. So if you don't want to do the triangle bit, that's absolutely fine. At this point you could get doodling, but I'm going to show you the triangle bit next. So I don't know how I'm going to describe this at all. I was thinking about this the other day, about how I do it. And you know, some things you just know how to do, but you have absolutely no idea how you do them. So good luck. So essentially, we're taking that fold and we're sort of bending it inwards. And the best way I can describe this is this bottom corner here. If this is folded at a point, then you're going to be fine. So what I would say is press this line inwards and then concentrate on this corner being folded exactly into a triangle. And then what you're sort of doing is you're what is the word I'm looking for? You're sort of scoring this corner, but then you're not going the whole way, because you want it also to sit up here as well. So you're kind of half folding it, half not, until you're happy with the results. But essentially we're going in here, and then you're bending in here. So you're finding your corners here, and then you're getting this line that we pressed in at the beginning, and we're pressing it in even further, and then we're trying to match up the 2 points at the top here. So we start, I'm going to try and do that again and explain it better, because that was terribly explained, wasn't it? So we're going to press this fold in. We're going to line this corner up so it's a nice point, and we're going to press it, but we're not folding the whole way because we want this to be nice and neat at the top as well. We're sort of, once we've got that point here, we sort of need that point to fit nicely at the top as well. So you're sort of finding that midpoint. The reason this is tricksy is because you're going against a fold and you need it to line up both sides. So once you've got your point here and you've lined it up to your point at the top, you can then flatten it and make it nice and neat. And there you've got your first corner, or your first part of the triangle. So now if I do the same this side, again, we're going to press that line inwards. And then we want to line up our corner here so that you've got a nice point. This one's being way more tricksy. There we go. So we're going to line our point up here. So this is nice and pointy. And then we're going to do the same at the top. So then we're going to sort of press that in and make our way. You're sort of bending this bit in. This bit's still pointy. You want this bit to be pointy too. You can now line it up to the one that we've already done. So you can sort of press that in. And then you're going to sort of line that up too. This is the bit you're worried about. It's this fold in the middle, because you're going to sort of bend it at your will, essentially, to make it nice and flat. So you can see I'm struggling a little bit to get it in, but once those points are joined, you can then go in and flatten it. There we go, we're in. Now, hopefully that made sense. But as long as, the reason that it's tricky is because you're sort of creating another fold, or you're sort of bending this fold in, and it's sort of like it needs to be bent into shape. So it feels quite tricky, but as long as those points match, so as long as these bottom points match up to this top point here, and then this bit is sort of folded in and then all flattened nicely, then you're good to go. But as I said, if that feels really tricky, I don't think you need to do it at all. You could absolutely live without the pointy bit. Now, we've done the origami, so we've done the hard bit. So now if we fold this up and up again, you've now got your really beautiful envelope shape. So that's what all this folding was about. That's what the tricksy folding was about, just to make this bit look like a real life envelope. But it's a real life envelope that is also the card as well. So it's all integrated. It's all one thing. So now we can doodle on it. We can start really thinking about how we're going to design it and make it really beautiful and Christmassy. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move my camera slightly so it's ever so slightly closer to this part of my desk. And I'm going to zoom in slightly because we're going to do some very intricate doodling now. I think what we'll do is we'll start with the side that's going to have someone's name on. So I'm going to basically copy this one because I really like this and it's super easy to do. So I'm going to turn it over, and I think generally speaking this is much easier to do if it's already folded. I know that some people do these designs sort of on their screens on their iPads, and then they can print them out and then fold them. I think this is quite a nice way of doing it because we're doodling on it as it's folded, so we sort of know how it's going to look. So I'm going to go straight in with a pen today, purely because when I draw pencil onto white paper, it's really hard for you guys to see on the camera. So I'm going to go straight in with a pen. I would recommend you do this with a pencil first and then go over with pen and then colour it in if you so wish. But hopefully I'll be able to do it with pen and it look fabulous without going wrong. So we shall see. So I'm going to start with these lovely leaves. So I'm going to find a sort of middle point, and the best way to do that would be to find our pointy edge of the envelope and sort of hold my finger there, turn it over, And then I know it's sort of around there. That's sort of about the middle. So I can then make a little point. So I'm going to move my head with my pen. That's about in the middle. And then essentially I'm going to draw a wave. How would I describe it? I'm going to wave upwards, almost as if I'm going to draw a heart, I suppose. It's as if I'm going to draw a heart, but without the top bit. So I'm going to move my head slightly, and I'm going to work my way up, and then I'm going to do the same here. Sort of like a bowl shape, I suppose, like a wine glass, maybe, something like that. And then essentially, now apologies if I keep dipping my head out the side of the camera, so that I can sort of see what I'm doing, and put my head over the camera. And then essentially, I'm going to just start drawing leaf shapes all the way up. Now they might get slightly smaller so that I can fit a lovely oval in. They can be different sizes. They can be different shapes. You could, if you wanted to go all in with Christmas, you could make these holly if you wanted to. They could be holly leaves. I don't know why I didn't think about that earlier. I should have made these holly leaves, but there we are. Never mind. They're still kind of, we're going with a Christmassy theme. It's going to be Christmas aesthetic, but not full Christmas. You will see that some of the designs had Christmas trees on them, so we will do our best. So we've done our leaves. Now I've detailed these leaves much further by putting the little lines down the middle, but I'm not going to do that right this second because I want to crack on through this design. So you can add as many embellishments as you so wish. At this point, I'm going to do an oval. Now this could be any shape actually, but really what we're trying to do here is create a shape that we can write people's name on. That's not the best oval in the world, is it? But I'm going to go in the middle with a sort of slightly thinner line. Now I'm using a little black brush pen, so I can get thicker and thinner lines, but I think your best bet is like a black fine liner. If you want to do it all black like I am, you might want to do lots of colours. You might work better with pencils. You may even want to have a go with some paints. If you're an avid painter, you could definitely watercolour this. There will be some beautiful examples online of watercoloured letter lockers that you could do, if that's something you're into. But you probably need a thicker paper if you were deciding to use paint. And then here, I'm just going to, again, apologies for my head dipping out. I'm going to write dear in beautiful calligraphy style writing. And then you could maybe put a line here if you wanted, so that then you've got a space to write their name, something along those lines. And then we've got some little gaps that we can fill. Now, I tell you what, seeing as this bit isn't super Christmassy, maybe I will put some holly in. Maybe I'll put some holly in there. So I'm going to start by doing 3 little circles in the corner, and then I'm going to do my holly leaf shape. There you go. That works, doesn't it? And then I'm going to do the other side. 3 circles that are joined together. I'm just going to do 2 holly leaves on each side. There we go. And then I might finish off by, I've still got a little bit of space either side, so I might do some little stars. I always like filling gaps with stars. Now this gap is a different size. That's annoying, isn't it? I've not made it completely symmetrical. However, what I would say is that is sort of the joy of this, because it's handmade. You can get away with it being, you know, symmetry is, I think actually when you're hand drawing something, it looks better if it's not completely symmetrical, because it adds to its sort of authenticity, I would say. Okay, so we've got a lovely set of stars. I might just bring these leaves just slightly further down so they go all the way to the bottom. There's loads of different things we can do. I mean, we'll move on to the next bit. maybe some borders. I wanted to talk about borders, but we'll do that on the next one. So we've done our front side of the envelope. So now we can move on to the other side. So I'm going to turn this over, and for this one, what I quite like the idea of doing is having a design on the pointy bit and then a really simple pattern on the back bit, because I think that's a really nice contrast. So again, maybe I should try and do something more Christmassy. Maybe I'll do a Christmas tree. I said I was going to try and copy this like for like, but here I am completely changing the design. So I'm going to do, how am I going to do my Christmas tree? Let's do it like this. I'm going to start with a star. And then we're going to do some spiky spikes like this. And then I've not made it completely central. That's annoying, isn't it? So I'll try and make the log. There you go. That's fine, isn't it? And then we could do some little baubles coming off it. I'm not going to put the amount of tinsel on this tree as I put on my actual Christmas tree. I put an obscene amount of tinsel on our Christmas tree. I've got all this sort of really neon, brightly coloured tinsel. It's ridiculous. I'm just going to do some random patterns on the Christmas tree. I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but I'm putting my Christmas tree up on Sunday. Now, that's only because I don't have any other weekends free, but it is technically still November on Sunday. So apologies for that, but I have no choice in the matter. Okay, I'm going to do some little lines on the log. And then what else do we want to do? Maybe some more stars. You can never go wrong with too many stars. So I'm going to do some really spiky stars to fill either side of this. And then maybe, I'm just wondering how I can decorate this further. I might put some little circles in the corner. And then maybe they could have some little lines coming out them. And then is there room to do a little circle on that one as well? Or maybe we'll colour those circles in. It is acceptable, Sue. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. It is totally acceptable. And it's the 30th. A lot of people around where I live have already put their Christmas lights up. So I think it's getting earlier every year. And that makes me sound very old, doesn't it? Okay, I'm going to do some spirals in the middle of these. I'm just thinking of different little ways that we can add decoration to it. Simple lines, simple mark making that anyone can do. That looks lovely. I'm happy with that. Because now what we can do is we can do our pattern underneath, which will be quite heavy, I suppose, like quite line heavy. But the great thing about this is sort of, I would say this is a sort of cheat, because it looks really impressive. But the reason it looks impressive is because you've got this pattern underneath, but this pattern is really simple. It's just lots of simple lines. But then contrasted against your image here, it makes it look really fancy when actually we've just done some lines. So that's what we're going to do here. However, I'm going to do a slightly different one. I might do some spirals like I did for the tinsel, but quite thick ones. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up and I'm going to make sure I'm doing the right one. So I've kept my finger on this one. We know it's this one, and it's going to sit this way. And then the reason I'm doing these spirals is because it will be much quicker than me doing the little checkerboard that I did on the other one. And you can see this, so you can sort of see how it looks. So you can have a go at either. But this one won't take me too long. So I'm going to do a sort of fruity little spiral, and I'm going to do it all the way along, and I'm going to have them almost touching. So we're covering a lot of the paper. And this is what I mean about it being a little bit of a cheat, because we're filling up loads of the paper with a black mark, and it just makes it look like more is going on, even though we've not spent much time on it. So that's sort of the plan here. You could do quite thick black stripes, so you could just do one rather than it being checkerboard. You could just do lines, but they're quite thick ones. You could do spots, so you could do like polka dots that are coloured in. I think as long as you're sort of using up a lot of the space, you're good to go. So hopefully this will look really nice contrasted against the little Christmas tree design we've done. There we go. So then if we fold this back up now, there, how lovely does that look? So you've got that lovely contrast. Doesn't matter what sort of design it is. If you've got a really liney, pattern heavy one underneath, it's always going to look nice with that design over the top. Apologies if you can hear my dog barking. Someone's knocked at the door. That will be a delivery. And our dog likes to think it's really important to bark very loudly to make sure the delivery drivers go away as quickly as possible. What I might do is I might shut my door very quickly. Hopefully you'll be able to hear less barking. We'll see. She's got a very loud bark. She's a very small dog as well. She's got a very really loud bark. Okay, so now I'm going to open this up. Now let's see what I've done on this side. So we've gone from our dear whoever, we turn it over, we've got our lovely design and our pattern. And then when it opens up, okay, I've gone with a sunshine here. So for this one, we can just do any kind of design that we want. And then when we open it up, we're going to do something completely different. So really, the best way to describe this, the way we're designing this, is we're working with the shapes that we've got. So at every point that we open it, at every point that we are folding, we're using that area to fill a space. So this one is obviously our sort of envelope. I'm just looking at the time to see how far we're going to get. And then this one is sort of a standalone. So for this one, you could actually put some writing if you wanted. There's nothing to stop you putting. So maybe we'll do that just so we've got different examples. So for this one, I just did a sort of sunshine, which filled that rectangle because that rectangle isn't really going anywhere. But maybe we could do a little Merry Christmas. So yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to write Merry Christmas and I'm going to write it in sort of beautiful calligraphy handwriting. You're welcome to copy me. I did do a calligraphy session a long time ago, if you want to try and find that on the archives. But you could write it however you wanted. Or if you don't want to do that, you could do any kind of other design if you wanted. So I'm going to write Merry Christmas. I'm going to try and make it straight, which is going to be interesting because I am sort of on a bit of a wonk. I am on a bit of a diagonal here, so we'll see. Apologies if it's not very, very straight. Let's do it like this. Now, I would say as well, actually, I hadn't even thought about this, but there's nothing to stop you using other materials. So if you have like stamps, you have stamps like a Merry Christmas stamp or little stars, stickers, glitter, sequins, anything you like. You don't need to just stick to pens if you don't want to. So you're very welcome to really experiment with different things here. Okay, Christmas. Now, where am I going to put this T? I'm going to have it going across there. Oh, look, there you go. The T can be crossed by the Y. Aren't I smart? I meant to do that, obviously. And then the S at the end. Fabulous. So we've got a different design now. So we've got our writing, and we might want to, we're obviously not just going to write Merry Christmas. We're going to do more to it. I want to border this one, I think. So I'm going to do some little sort of petal shapes in each corner, which I might colour in. And then there you go. So already that's like giving it a bit of something extra, isn't it? But then I think what we can do is if we just do a sort of straightish line between each one, that always really sets off something, I think. And it is, I think the other thing as well is I'm sort of going off, I'm being influenced by those sort of old Victorian style kind of images. They all have these beautiful borders on them, almost a little bit like an invitation or like a place card, you know what I mean. So that already looks lovely. I still feel like it's got it's definitely got, I'm just thinking stars again. Shall I do some more stars? Yeah, let's do some more stars. Why not? I mean, you know, I'm going to teach you how to, you know, I've taught you how to fold it up and sort of how I would decorate it. At this point, you can obviously experiment. You don't have to do a million stars like I'm doing. I just really like drawing stars. And we could maybe do some little ones all the way around, make it look all nice and shiny. You know, I'm obviously doing this in sort of my style of doodling, so you could really experiment with it and do it however you wish. Okay, that's looking good. So far we've done pretty well considering. Yeah, we're doing really well. So we've got our first side where we can write the person's name, and then we've got the back side of the envelope. So we've got our design and our pattern underneath. And then we open it up. We've got a little design. Merry Christmas. Now we're on to the big bits. So we've opened out our envelope, and now we've got these lovely long bits here. So for these long bits, this is where I started to think that I really wanted to go to town with the black. So for this one, something like this. I just think it looks really, really impressive. However, it's just really annoying to colour in. If you like colouring in, then this bit's going to be for you. So we'll make a start on it. I perhaps won't colour the whole thing in because I don't think you want to watch me just colouring in black areas with a pen that doesn't work very well. But you get the idea. As long as you appreciate where I'm coming from with the wanting to sort of fill these spaces. And really, again, you can do this however you want. I've gone with filling these whole two long lines here, but you have got fold lines here and here, so there's nothing stopping you splitting it up in that way, so you could have different sections doing different things. But I'm going to do it like this for now, and I'm going to show you how I did it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line all the way around the rectangle, about a few millimeters in, and this is sort of creating the border. And I think this is the bit that makes it look really impressive because you've got that lovely sort of white line all the way around. And I'm going to do that on both sides. And I'm going to try and make the design sort of quite symmetrical in a way, because they're both going to be seen at the same time. And what we also need to remember is if we are colouring all of this background in black, we need to make our designs sort of not intricate enough to sort of lose the shape when we colour it in. So we've drawn our lines here. I'm going to sort of copy this almost, I think. So I'm going to start by doing a Christmas tree. Maybe I'll do a Christmas tree on both sides, slightly different to the other design. So I'm going to do a really long, thin Christmas tree. So I'm basically creating a very long and thin triangle, and I'm starting it from that fold there. So that's the point I'm working from. I'm going to do the same this side. So we've got our two very long, very thin triangles, which will create our Christmas trees. And then I'll do a log here. Now remember, we're colouring the background in. So we just need to bear that in mind when we're doing this bit. And then we're going to do our star at the top. Do we do a star at the top, or maybe I could do a different? Maybe we could do a heart. I'm going to do a heart at the top. Why not? Seeing as I've already done a million stars already, do a little heart at the top. That's nice, isn't it? And then We're going to basically colour in the background, but it's quite nice for this to have a design as well. I'm going to copy the design I did on the example piece, which is super easy. So I've just drawn a line up the middle, stopped nearly at the top so that I can do a lovely leaf shape. Now, the reason I'm doing these leaves is because they're quite small. There's still space so you can see the contrast between the black and white. An angel would have been good. I'm glad you said that, actually, because I'm not going to show you, but just over to my left, I have got some cardboard angels cut out, ready for my Christmas session in December. So I'm not going to draw an angel because I'm going to be doing angels in December. So there you heard it here first. No spoilers, I'm not going to show you, but I'm going to do some collage angels for my next session, so keep your eyes out for that. And it will involve, you know, paper, cutting and sticking and collage, recycled materials, as is always the way with my sessions. So as you can see, I'm mimicking the leaves we did right at the beginning on the front side of the envelope, but I'm colouring these ones in just so that we've got that contrast between black and white when we colour our background in. I'm doing this very, very quickly, so you can obviously take your time with this. So that's our very simple leaf design. I might do some little lines on the tree. And I'm going to do the same on this side. And I'm going to colour those in. Now, here's the problem. When I did my example, you'll notice that I tried to use this pen to colour the whole of the background in. And then it wasn't until later on that I found a thicker one. So I probably, like I say, I probably won't colour the whole thing in just because that will be really boring for you to watch. But as long as we're sort of making most of the background black, or if you're not using black, if you're using other colours, you can this still applies. You could do something totally different here. I mean, if you are handy with a pen, this would look really good on, if you did it on some like red paper or green, you could use one of those really lovely gold pens that you always buy at Christmas to do your cards with. The ones that you have to shake and that are like metal. I've not had one of those for years, and they always at some point you press them and then they blob everywhere. So maybe don't use a gold pen like that. So I'm maybe going to do a little detail of the heart. So I'm just going to outline it on the inside, just so it's got a bit of something extra. Can maybe do it one more time. That's why I quite like using these brush pens as well, because you can do those thick and thin lines, which is quite nice. And then, so we've still got a nice big gap at the top for us to do something. We could do an angel, couldn't we? Have I got the time? I don't think I have the time. I'm not going to do an angel because I don't think I have time. I'm a bit worried about getting all of this done. So guess what? I'm going to do another star. But again, the reason I'm doing so many stars like this is I'm just trying to find a really quick way to fill a space. I'd really love it if you were to experiment with some different images and shapes, just so you can sort of see how the overall effect would look. So with this one, I've done these lovely leaves again, but obviously I've just done the outline of them and then coloured in around them. We've got some holly in there. So every single stage, we're sort of taking elements from the last bit that we did and adding them in. So the leaves are the same as our first bit. And then the stars obviously run throughout. I mean, we could give these stars could have faces, couldn't they? There's nothing stopping us giving these little faces, just so they've got a bit of detail. And now, and again, you can spend a lot more time on this. I'm rushing through this. We can get ourselves a thicker pen if you want to try the sort of negative space, and we're going to go in and colour in. And I'm not going to do all of this, but I'll do all the way around this Christmas tree just so you can see the overall effect and how I think it just looks nice and impressive. Oh, this is so much easier. I can't believe I tried to colour all of this in with a really tiny pen. This is a joy. Wow. No wonder I was getting frustrated. Yeah, if you are going to copy this sort of design, get yourself a nice thick pen to do the background with, because this is much more fun. And you could even, at this point, I would say you could do even more details if you wanted. So you could do, you know, some little circles or stars running across if you're happy to do a bit more colouring in. I'm doing a much more simplified version, just so you can see the overall effect. Oh, lovely. So if I go all the way around the tree, around the heart, I won't bother with the star because I want to move on. But just so you can sort of see what it's going to look like. Oh, once you get going with a nice pen, colouring in is great, isn't it? Love colouring in. Okay, stop there. Just stop there. So hopefully you can see I think that looks way more impressive. Like it's really bold and eye-catching, and it is simpler than sort of trying to doodle over the whole thing. So although it takes time to colour in, it's much easier than trying to think up doodles. So I think that's got, you know, you get it, you know. So let's close it back up again so you can see where we are. We've got our first bit, we've got our envelope, then we open it up, and then we've got our lovely negative space where we've coloured in all the background black. We do need to think about these areas here. So again, we're filling spaces. So I'm going to do another border of the triangle, and this is quite fun because now we can think about how we're going to fill the space of a triangle. So I quite like, oh, maybe we could do some more leaves, or we could do a nice big heart. So a heart would be nice because it could fill that triangular shape quite nicely. And again, you could do the background black if you wanted. I think I'm going to go round the heart. Sorry, I've just realised that was quite far off the side of the camera there. I'm going to go round the heart with a little scalloped edge. And then I'm going to go round the heart on the inside again. And then same for this one. And then inside of the heart that way. And then we can do some little, so earlier we did the little petal shapes. We could do that again in here. Maybe I'm going to do a little petal shape and two little circles in these corners that are spare. You could do any patterns you wanted, really. And then we could do some more little stars. So again, we're just filling gaps with patterns, and either way it all looks pretty impressive. So I think you've got this bit here. However, this bit isn't needed. I think I was going to say, can you stick it, but you can't because we're going to open it up. If you really wanted to, you could put something in this bit, but I'm not going to for now. I'm going to concentrate on the inside now. So now we're going to open up the whole page, and we have got the whole piece of paper to work with. Now, what I would say at this point is you could start with this. So you could start, because we've got loads of folds on this, the folds might get in the way, but you could start by doing your letter. So I'm sort of doing it as if you're going to write someone a letter, but it could be pictures, it could be anything really, whatever you like, and then you could fold it up. But I wanted to show you the folding first, so it made sense. So for the example piece, of which, oh, I did do an angel. Oh, I've got an angel there, look. That I sort of half coloured in because I got very stressed out with the pen. The way I've done it is I've sort of, oh, you can't see all of that, can you? Let's zoom out slightly. I've sort of given myself a lovely area to do lots of writing. I didn't write loads of stuff because I live really close to my mum. I don't need to write her a letter. But just so you get the idea, so I've sort of done it in this kind of top corner, decorating around it. That sort of feels quite kind of Victorian-esque. It's got that kind of vibe to it. So yeah, you could start with this. You could start with your letter, as long as you're filling one side of A4 and then folding it correctly, which is pretty self-explanatory because you're sort of closing it in on that. You're sort of closing it up and then folding it up. Then you would not struggle with any of these folds here. But also, it's not the end of the world. They're just fold lines, so that's okay. So I will really quickly show you that because we're nearly out of time. So I won't do too many doodles, but if you wanted to copy my design again, you could definitely experiment with your own style for sure. But the way I would do it is start in my top left-hand corner, and same as we've done with a lot of these where we've done a border, and I'm going to go sort of all 2/3 down maybe, and then I'm going to work my way across. And again, I don't think this needs to be super neat. You don't need to use a ruler. It looks so much nicer if it's obviously hand drawn. So you don't need to be precise. It can be quite obviously hand drawn, I think. But you could do this in pencil first if you wanted. I'm not doing it in pencil because you just can't see it very well. So you've got that lovely area now that you can write on. And what I might do is I might go around it again just to give it a bit of a border. And you could be really over the top with your border if you wanted. You could scallop it. So I'll show you that in just a second. I'll just get all the way around with my second line. So you could do a scalloped edge, make it look like a frame. It would be much easier if I did it this way. And I might scallop, so I won't do it now, but you could scallop all the way around the edge. If you wanted to be really fancy, you could put little circles in each scallop or dots. You could colour these in, so you could colour around these circles. I'll show you that just briefly on a few of the scallops. So you can see here I've like coloured in the scallops and left the little dot. And then you could go on the inside of the frame, square, rectangle, and you could do an even smaller scallop. Just any of these, I just find these sort of patterns, the more you do, the more impressive it looks, but they're all patterns that are really easy to do. You don't have to be good at drawing. You don't have to be like a portrait artist to be able to recreate this. We're just doing really simple mark making, and it just gives it a bit of extra. You could even do little lines on the border. So there's so many different ways that you can decorate. Oh, that's not focused at all, is it? There you go. So there's so many ways that you can, first of all, decorate your area that you're intending to write in. Now this area might be a totally different size. You might not want to write a full letter. You might just be writing a note like the inside of a card, in which case you could just fill this area here and do your dear whoever, Merry Christmas, love from. And so you could make that square much smaller and then have all of this for decoration. And again, I'm not suggesting that you use the whole area and colour it in with a black background. That will take forever. But you can really think about how big you want that area to be. and then you can write your you could write your message first, couldn't you? So I'm going to write one to my mum again, even though she's just going to get loads of half-written letters from me. So you can write your message, and then this area can be free for whatever. So again, what I would suggest is you're going to take elements of the bits we've done. I don't have time to decorate it right now, unfortunately. We've run out of time. But as you can see with this one, I've sort of done a sort of pattern, I suppose, more stars, obviously, down the side. And then you've got your big design down at the bottom. And it's just sort of surrounding your written area. But I do think that I think the having the written area in the left-hand corner, I don't know why, just looks nice. But you don't have to do it like that. You could do it right in the centre, and you could have all your patterns going around the edge of it. There's so many options. You could do your written area could be a shape. So you could do a really big star, and you could do the design in the shape. So you could do your, this is very quick writing, apologies. So you could do your writing in the middle of that shape and then have your design around the edge that way. So there's loads of different options. I think as long as you get the folding right for your letter locker, then you are good to go. So we've got our A4 piece of paper. I'm just going to recap very quickly before I go. You've got our A4 piece of paper. You have made a little dent where the halfway point is so that you can close that paper in and make your little doorway. We've folded it in half, and then we've opened it up, and then we've folded it to the middle, and then we've folded it not quite to the middle, so we've left like a centimetre gap. Then we've created our pointy bit by lining our points up here and bending flat. Same with this side. And then we've folded it into position. We've done our front side, which is where we write someone's name. We've done our design with our pattern underneath. And then we've done our negative area doorways. And then we have got our very long handwritten letter, which has got loads and loads of detailed information in it. And then I don't have any to hand with me because I took it downstairs and my children stole it and now they've used it all. But I had some really lovely stripy string that I used to tie it up and do a little bow. And I have not got that to show you because they used it to tie to wooden spoons to make fishing rods. So apologies for the lack of string. But hopefully that was a nice simple bit of origami to make a lovely letter locker ready for Christmas. You can write lots of lovely letters and notes to all your loved ones, and you can get doodling. And that's me done. So I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. I hope you're feeling ready for Christmas. And because you got a little cheeky little spoiler earlier, I'm going to see you again in a few weeks doing some collage angels just in time for Christmas. I've been Rosie. My business is Rosie and Ramona, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you very much. Bye.